right now, two artificial intelligences are fighting a war in the Japanese market.
Yeah, a massive silent war.
Exactly. And they aren't, trading stocks and they aren't selling ads. They're trying to crack the ultimate code, which is predicting exactly what millions of human beings will care about tomorrow.
It's incredibly ambitious.
It really is. So, welcome to your custom-tailored deep dive. We are unpacking a fascinating data drop from June 5, 2026, straight from Team AI Lab's Market Arena Substack.
And this is just a goldmine of data.
Oh, totally. The mission today is to analyze this huge, real-time philosophical clash that's playing out between two rival algorithmic entities.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's essentially a sociological and mathematical laboratory, playing out in real time.
Right.
We're watching two completely different theories of human behavior collide in, one of the most complex trend environments in the world.
Absolutely. But before we get into the heavy machinery of how these algorithms actually work, I need to lay out the single most important rule of engagement for you, the listener.
Yeah, this is crucial.
This deep dive is a pure observation log. We are looking strictly at the behavior of proprietary algorithms and their simulation results under very specific parameters.
Nothing more.
Right. There is absolutely zero investment advice here. No trading induction, no financial recommendations whatsoever.
Definitely not.
This is a purely intellectual exploration of trend intelligence and behavioral data. We are simply scientists observing a very high-stakes petri dish.
And the parameters of that petri dish are really what make this so compelling. We're looking at how two diametrically opposed algorithms attempt to measure and basically predict the heat of collective human attention.
So let's meet the combatants.
Yeah.
On one side, we have Team Rhino Titans.
Okay.
Their entire operating system is built on this philosophy called structural stillness.
Which is a great name.
It is. They're hunting for the quiet, unmoving bedrock beneath the daily noise. The predictable foundational rhythms of society.
Right, the stuff that doesn't really change.
Exactly. Now, opposing them is Team Falcon. Their architecture relies on kinetic propagation.
The complete opposite.
Pretty much. They have zero interest in stillness. They're designed to detect, capture, and ride the dynamic, volatile waves of market sentiment, psychology, and, financial narratives.
Right. And if we look at the underlying mechanics, today's data drop is a story of how these two approaches are sparking and clashing in the intense heat of the Japanese market.
Yeah.
It's basically a stress test of what actually drives collective action.
Yeah.
Is it the slow, inevitable turning of the calendar? Or, the sudden, violent contagion of a new idea?
That is the big question. And to understand how those philosophies translate into data, we need to look at the starting line.
The new deployments.
Exactly. Let's examine the new deployment phase. This is the moment a newly selected keyword is dropped into the arena at 0.00 UTC for a strict 10-day evaluation.
Right.
Team Rhino Titans just deployed the keyword Chichi-no Hai, which translates to Father's Day, categorized as a seasonal event. Now, on the surface, that sounds incredibly basic, right? It's just the third Sunday of June. But what does an algorithm actually see when it looks at a holiday?
Well, it sees a mathematically perfect bell curve of human obligation.
Huh. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, an algorithm tracking structural stillness loves a seasonal event because it has decades of historical baseline data.
Oh, right. Like it knows the patterns perfectly?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It knows exactly when the early planners will start searching for restaurant reservations. It knows when the procrastination demographic will cause this massive sudden spike in searches for last-minute gifts or delivery services.
Because that happens every single year without fail.
Right. It is a structural certainty. The algorithm isn't predicting if the event will happen. It's simply calibrating its sensors to capture a guaranteed behavioral wave.
Okay, let's unpack this and contrast that with Team Falconero's new deployment.
Right, their approach is totally different.
It is. Their keyword is Boburu, or bubble, categorized under finance. This represents a specific economic cycle where asset prices just surge beyond their fundamental value.
Right.
But in the context of Japan, bubble is a heavily loaded cultural term. It carries the historical weight of the 1980s, creating this volatile mix of market enthusiasm, greed, and, underlying crash anxiety.
Yeah, and Falconero's is attempting to measure a sentiment contagion there.
What do you mean?
Well, when financial news mentions a bubble, it triggers a very specific psychological reflex. The algorithm is looking for velocity, Sudden spikes in social media mentions, rapid sharing of financial articles, the kinetic spread of fear or excitement.
Always.
It's betting that this emotional volatility will generate far more immediate trend heat than a predictable calendar event.
Okay, so think about it like this. Rhino Titan's approach is kind of like navigating by the stars, right?
I like that analogy.
Yeah, they're relying on these fixed, predictable celestial bodies like annual holidays. Meanwhile, Falcon is out there trying to harness a hurricane. They're trying to predict the volatile, emotional swings of financial anxiety and greed.
And that structural framing highlights the core hypothesis being tested here.
Which is?
Can the quiet, guaranteed gravity of a calendar event outpace the visceral, immediate human reaction to economic shifts?
But, dropping a keyword into the arena is just a hypothesis. The Japanese market has a habit of shifting overnight.
Oh, absolutely.
And a strategy that looks brilliant on day 1 might be completely obsolete by day 5. So let's move from the starting line to the active mission phase.
A midway point.
Right. These are the keywords currently sailing through the middle of their 10-day evaluation. They are navigating the rough seas of real-time public attention right now.
Yeah, the midway point is really where theory meets the friction of reality.
And the tracking signals in this report are stark. Rhino Titan's primary active keyword right now is taifu, meaning typhoon, categorized under climate.
Okay.
The data shows it is absolutely exploding. It's registering an average heat of plus 328.1%. Yeah. Meanwhile, Team Falconero's primary active keyword is genzai, meaning tax reduction, categorized under finance. And it is actively shrinking. It's currently sitting at negative 23.2%.
That is wow. The divergence in those numbers tells a really profound story about how human beings process information.
Wait, I need to push back on this, or at least play devil's advocate looking at the logic of these keywords.
Go for it.
Because as a pure observer of trend mechanics, money impacts survival just as much as weather. A tax reduction theoretically affects literally everyone's wallet in the country.
Oh, completely.
It is a massive structural societal issue. A tax cut should drive massive search volume for calculation tools, policy details, economic forecast, you name it.
You would think so, yeah.
So why is a financial promise like genzai shrinking into negative territory, while a weather event like taifu is completely swallowing the trend heat at over 300%?
It's a great question.
Like, is Falcon's algorithm failing because the keyword is mathematically weak? Or is the Japanese public just deeply cynical about political promises? And again, for you listening, we are treating this entirely impartially.
Right, purely as a data point.
Exactly. We are analyzing the raw behavioral data of search volume, not the politics of the policy itself. We aren't taking any sides here.
Yeah, and this raises an important question about how kinetic propagation struggles in certain environments. The public reaction, or really the lack thereof, is what creates data friction.
Data friction.
Yeah, a tax reduction absolutely affects everyone. But political and financial keywords often force the public into a passive consumption loop.
Passive consumption.
People might scroll past a headline about a proposed tax cut, maybe feel a flash of skepticism or agreement, and then they just keep scrolling.
Because nothing's actually happening yet.
Exactly. The policy might take months to materialize, so it doesn't trigger an immediate unified action. It just generates fragmented, passive attention.
Right. It's a theoretical future, so it doesn't demand kinetic movement today.
But a typhoon is an entirely different behavioral mechanism. It is an immediate, unavoidable environmental imperative.
You can't ignore a typhoon.
You don't debate a typhoon. You don't wait to see if it passes through a legislative committee. A massive storm forces millions of people into the exact same active behavioral funnel at the exact same time.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They pick up their phones and actively search for storm tracks, train cancellation schedules, emergency supply inventories.
It's forced action.
Right. Structural stillness works here because it targets biological and physical realities that demand instant, actionable search volume. It cuts effortlessly through the passive noise of daily politics.
That perfectly explains the staggering 300% heat. It's not just attention, like you said, it's forced action.
Exactly.
But an algorithm surviving the midway point doesn't guarantee it survives the full evaluation. Sentiments change, storms pass, narratives collapse.
They always do.
So let's look at what happens when the clock finally runs out. The mission completed reports show the final locked-in 10-day trend outcomes.
The final verdicts.
Yes, and looking at today's data drop, the gap between the predictions made 10 days ago and the reality of today is pretty dramatic.
But we are seeing physical evidence of how rapidly the market rules can transform.
Yeah. Team Falconero's completed keyword was motosu, meaning mythos, categorized under security. The final outcome was a dismal negative 20.8%.
Ouch. But we shouldn't view that negative 20.8% as a simple calculation error by the AI. No, it's a testament to narrative evaporation. 10 days ago, whatever Kinetics spread Falcon arrows detected around the concept of mythos or security narratives looked mathematically viable.
It had a spark.
Right. But the daily news cycle is ruthless. Public anxiety shift, news stories break, and the collective attention span just moves on.
It evaporates.
The rapid shifts in the Japanese market simply swallowed Falcon's existing logic whole. The wave they tried to surf flattened out before they ever reached the shore.
They hit a brick wall of reality.
Pretty much.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at the adapter that actually managed to survive this 10-day gauntlet.
Rhino Titans.
Yep. Rhino Titans' completed keyword was Tsuyu Iri, which means the start of the rainy season, categorized under climate. It scored a massive plus 94.9%.
Wow.
Basically a clean double.
Their logic held up perfectly from inception to completion.
And it's more than just holding up. It's a masterclass in finding a baseline. While Falcon's abstract concept got completely lost in the noise, Rhino Titans found a master clock for the entire Japanese economy.
The lighthouse in the dark.
Yes. The start of the rainy season isn't just a weather fact. It dictates commuter behavior, retail purchasing, agricultural planning, domestic travel.
By tapping into those deep, unavoidable shifts of the Japanese climate, Rhino's algorithm adapted perfectly to a chaotic environment.
Brilliant.
It ignored the volatile surface waves of financial anxiety and just anchored itself to a physical reality. Everyone has to check the humidity forecasts. Everyone has to buy an umbrella or adjust their transit plans.
You can't opt out of the rainy season.
Exactly. It acts as a universal behavioral trigger that unifies millions of isolated data points into one measurable trend.
This perfectly closes the loop on why Rhino deployed Chichi no Hai Father's Day in the new deployment phase we discussed earlier.
Right, it's the same logic.
They are repeating the exact same strategy. They are looking for that unshakable master clock, whether it's meteorological or calendrical, to guide them through the noise.
It is a highly repeatable architecture.
So we have the new deployments, the active struggles, and the finalized outcomes. So what does this all mean? How do we evaluate the overall war between these two philosophies?
That's the real question.
Looking at the current season standings, the disparity is massive. Team Rhino Titans is dominating with a cumulative score of plus 2,952.9%.
Incredible.
And Team Falcon Arrows is currently underwater at negative 186.7%.
The numbers present a very one-sided narrative on the surface, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a landslide like that, and your immediate human reaction is to assume Falcon Arrows is just a broken algorithm.
A total failure.
Right. A negative 186% yield looks like a catastrophic failure in any traditional metric. But considering the parameters of this specific AI laboratory, is that really how we should be interpreting this data?
Absolutely not. Within the context of Team AI Labs research, that negative 186.7% is not a defeat. No, it is incredibly precious data. The core philosophy driving the Market Arena project is not about handing out a trophy to the AI with the highest score.
Okay.
They are conducting deep, forward-looking research. By analyzing exactly why kinetic keywords like Baburu, Genzai, or Mutosu miss their targets, the AI lab is mapping something far more valuable than a simple trend prediction.
What's that?
They are mapping the behavioral kinetics of the Japanese people.
Oh, wow. So they're using the algorithm's failures to chart the exact shape of public apathy.
That is the perfect way to phrase it. Think about it. If an artificial intelligence mathematically calculates that a massive national tax reduction should trigger a frantic wave of search volume, and the actual human response is just a collective shrug, that delta, that gap between expectation and reality is the discovery.
That's fascinating.
They are mapping the friction. They're discovering exactly where public sentiment disconnects from financial reality, where fatigue sets in, or where anxiety simply fails to translate into actionable search volume.
It requires a completely cold, clear-eyed posture to see it that way.
Total.
A mathematically defined loss for Falcon Arrows is just another critical puzzle piece in understanding the mechanics of human behavior. It defines the boundaries of what people actually care enough about to take action on.
And Falcon Arrow's struggle highlights exactly why Rhino Titan's success is so profound right now. You cannot fully appreciate the power of structural stillness, until you measure exactly how violently the kinetic waves are crashing and failing all around it.
That makes total sense. So let's sort of synthesize the incredible journey we just took through this June 5th report.
It's been quite a ride.
We watched how Rhino Titan's philosophy of structural stillness utterly overpowered the competition in this specific 10-day window.
Yeah.
By focusing on deep foundational baselines, things like Father's Day, typhoons, the start of the rainy season, they bypassed the chaotic static of the daily news cycle. They found the solid ground.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Falcon era's kinetic propagation, attempting to ride the volatile, contagious narratives of bubbles, tax reductions, abstract security threats, got swallowed by the shifting, apathetic seas of public attention.
The current market temperature heavily favors physical and calendar realities over abstract concepts right now.
It really does.
The data proves that biological and environmental imperatives are just driving the behavioral funnel right now.
It is a fascinating snapshot of human psychology, captured entirely through algorithmic data.
Unbelievable data.
But I want to leave you, our listener, with a final thought to mull over as we close out today's observation log.
Always good to have something to think about.
Right. We've seen that right now. Structural realities like weather and calendar events are serving as the ultimate master clocks, the fixed points cutting through the noise.
Yeah.
But if structural stillness is this dominant, what kind of unprecedented seismic societal event would it actually take to shatter that stillness?
That's a great question.
What specific combination of economic shock or cultural shift would have to occur to make the kinetic, human-driven, highly emotional narratives of Falcon arrows finally surge ahead and take the lead?
Well, the environment is always evolving. Eventually, the weather clears, and human psychology takes the wheel again.
Right.
The algorithms are just going to have to be ready for that shift when it happens.
The map is always being redrawn, and the rules of the arena will inevitably change. Thank you for joining us on this custom-tailored deep dive into the fascinating behavioral kinetics of the Japanese market.
It was a pleasure.
We honor your intellectual curiosity, and we'll be right here waiting for the next data drop, ready to analyze wherever the algorithms take us next.